It is woman's nature to have great transformations in her life, to make great changes. Biologically speaking, a great example is the three big phases in our life: when we go through puberty, when we go through pregnancy, motherhood, or the decision not to, and when we go through menopause. In nature, great changes and cycles and transformations are normal. The moon cycles, the tides, the high tide, low tide of the waves, the seasons of the year, spring, summer, fall, winter, life, death, rebirth, the regeneration of cells, the hibernations to the growth back in the spring. It's just a natural part of life, and women do that, biologically speaking. Every month we go through our own four phases of our cycle, from period to ovulation to premenstrual. I think I missed one there, the one after our period. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm blanking on it right now, so maybe you can tell me. But the point, it remains. We are naturally wired to do great changes in our life. Men are not. I don't think so. I think they require that more consistency, the more regular, constant, repetitive version of life, which is why I think they lean so much more easily towards control. And it is their biological nature where the sperm just outputs, and then just tries to find the egg and just goes. And they don't have monthly cycles. It seems like everything is just very linear in their life. And I wonder if that's why the patriarchy finds their power in the needs to control others. That's how they gain their stability. Whereas I think women, if they can follow the natural cycles, the stability is innate. It's brought to us from Mother Nature herself. And what I see in the patriarchy is it is backwards. It is a backwards way of living compared to the matriarchy, because, and especially for women, because we are suppressed or forced out of our innate stability of living according to the cycles of Mother Nature. And without that innate stability, we then lose our ability to go through our great transformations at ease, because you can't make great shifts without stability. Otherwise, it just becomes chaos. And I think that's why you see so many women struggle with health issues, whether it's physical or mental or both, when they're going through great periods of change in their life, because what should be natural becomes chaotic because there's no stability of the community, there's no stability of the land, there's no stability of the matriarchal laws of living and rituals that allow us to go through those changes with ease. And I'm not talking like no challenges at all, like no problems or at all. I mean, life is not bliss. We're always going to come across, obstacles. But when I'm talking about ease, I'm talking about small obstacles, like manageable obstacles that come with being alive, to the patriarchal obstacles that we aren't wired for. So it becomes so big and overwhelming to be able to handle. And I gave some examples of like biological ones, like for example, puberty, pregnancy, menopause. But there's also, the social ones too. Many women, I think it's like 70 or 80% of all divorces are initiated by women. And it tends to occur in midlife when we are in the perimenopausal stage. Although for some it's earlier and for some it's later. And this is a social example, a great social example of another great shift in our lives. And so we leave this institution of marriage that is a patriarchal concept with men who are driven to control, which is usually why the women file for divorce. And I wonder how easier it could be for us women if we had that stability to rely on in community, in our legal system, in our government, in our work, in Mother Nature, so that we can go through this shift with more ease, because it's definitely going to be challenging, but I wonder how much more challenging it is that we have to now find our independence again and our autonomy again from a place that forced us to not live according to our natural ways of living. And what would it be like if we could go through a phase like this with the stability of community and matriarchy? And I think you would probably find the difference in stories and the difference of how women are handling it when you're talking to a woman, let's say, leaving in an abusive marriage versus a woman leaving a marriage that just simply grew out of, but there's still a lot of love between her and her ex-partner and her family and community, and there's a lot of stability there. And people who are leaving abusive marriages, it is actually the most dangerous time of their lives. And how sad is that a great shift, a great transformation into the next chapter, into reclaiming their innate autonomy, independence, and power, comes at the greatest risk. And that is the patriarchy's doing. The patriarchy loves to make us live backwards to what we're supposed to do. And I'm sure you can come up with many examples of your own. I gave one example. I'm sure there are countless others. And in fact, one of the things that I find myself doing, I should write these down, is just going about my day-to-day life, and I see, the way people are going about their day, and I look at something, I was like, that's backwards. That's backwards. Like, that's not supposed to be like that. And I can trace it back to the behaviors, the customs, the norms, the beliefs, the conditioning that the patriarchy has led us to think that the way this situation, this life experience is supposed to be is normal when it is in fact backwards. So I might create a little series in the future of examples of backwards patriarchy or something like that. Just to, just to point out the the absurdities that we are forced to live in. And I find that being aware of these absurdities allows us to create alternate lives, in where we can go back to our balance, to our innate natural ways of living. And you have to see it in order to not fall into it, right? So yeah, just something I felt like talking about today. In case you're wondering, that snoring is her. She's been snoring throughout this whole video, my dog Lily. So that's the background noise. Back on topic. So the backwards ways of patriarchy and how it affects women. What do you think? Name some stuff in the comments below of some examples that you've noticed about how we're forced to live in a backwards patriarchy compared to the natural ways of living that would offer us more ease and stability and opportunity for those great transformations in our life. And what do you think those great transformations are? I would love to hear what you think. Yeah. As always, like, share, subscribe. You can donate on my PayPal if you want to support me. And well, till next time. Have a great evening. And I'm just noticing that in this video you can see my picture of this little Indigenous First Nations child in the back. So she grew up in a society more likely to follow the matriarchal laws of nature as opposed to the patriarchal ones. So I wonder what she would have to say about something like this. So from her to me to her, we wish you a good day.